Hey everyone, welcome back to Disney Sorcerer's Arena. So, I want you to know that I'm recording this video about 15 minutes after the one where I talked about I feel like um, Winnie the Pooh's coming. But I thought in this video it might be interesting to speculate about whose character, about whose kit might end up being who. And obviously, if you watch Winnie the Pooh, I'm thinking about going back and watching a lot, maybe either today or tomorrow or over this coming weekend. We'll have to see. But I got to thinking about whose kit would be who, and I don't think when the Sensational Six came out that we necessarily thought Goofy and Donald would be the tanks, or um, some of the other people would end up being the way they are. I don't think I ended up seeing Cusco as a summoner. I mean, you could sort of see Yzma's kit working out the way it has now that she's had two updates. And Kronk, I think Kronk could be a little bit more potent, but I think his kit is pretty spot on. I like Sheriff Nunningham's scheming. Obviously, I wish Robin Hood was little more effective. Peter Pan, it's pretty spot on, except for he's Club Conquest only, pretty much. Um, but when we're thinking about Winnie the Pooh, um, I think it's pretty evident that um, there's some definite ways I think the character should operate. Now, whether they will or not, I don't know. And I want to see if you agree with me. I want to see if, as I go through this video, if you think that my speculation about the way these Winnie the Pooh characters are um, would be the way you would interpret their kits. Um, and if not, hey, I'm okay with that. If you think that I'm crazy, if you think that I'm missing something, please let me know. We can have a talk. I'm very open to that. Have a back and forth. I'm really fine with that. So I want to start with I think Rabbit. And when I think of Rabbit, Rabbit has this very um I don't know that anxious is the right word, but very particular, I guess, the way he likes to do things. Um and when I think about that, I sort of think about, let's see, I'm doing this on the fly, just so you know. I've not really gone through the rosters and thought about this a lot. But um a little bit makes me think of Shank. A little bit, not from the way she was in the movie, but obviously from the way she operates in game. Um, she does damage. She it sort of has haste, purge it, otherwise slow. I mean, she's a control character, and when Shank first came out, people hated her, and I don't know that the perception of her has changed a lot, but people I think are now a lot more understanding of her character, of her kit, and she's got cleanse, perform cleanse and haste one time. She's got this back over thing. I don't know whether that would be in the kit, but she provides haste. Is this the one that provides haste? Yeah, this is the one extends haste. You think we could see that with Rabbit? I don't whether Rabbit's a support. I definitely can see Rabbit being a support. I don't think that she would be that. I don't think that they would be an offensive character per se, but I think a supporting role for Rabbit with elements of Shank and maybe Chip or Dale with where they're very controlling and they have where they apply and remove buffs and do stuff like that. I think that's the way that we're gonna go. For somebody like Eeyore, you could say might be offense because he's obviously gonna have a big thing where he's like, thanks for noticing me type thing. But for Eeyore, um, I'm thinking tank. And not only am I thinking tank, I'm thinking S tier tank. Like, unbelievably good tank. And now I brought up Simba. You know, Simba's not an S tier tank, but Simba does have some interesting stuff, right? He's got speed meter reduction on his basic. He's got defense and heal on there with Hakuna Matata. He's got the speed meter reduction with this. And off it's down. This is also his taunt. Do I think? No, obviously, I'm not saying that Eeyore's tank is he's gonna be the spitting copy and paste of Simba. But I think if you add some more, I think working with wilds and with the synergy of the wilds and with, the leadership and the speed potential from the wilds, and Simba is obviously a water character, but I don't think that in terms of wild characters, in terms of wilds, there's really only one really good tank in wilds, and it's kind of suspect whether he's still really good anymore. And that's Frank. And that, Frank's obviously S tier, but he's got to protect, and I don't really know that Eeyore will have a protect. Now, obviously, Frank is S tier, but who I was talking about before. But Frank is, yes, he's a wild, but he's more an adventurer because his leadership is adventure. Does he work in a wild's team? Yes. The problem is he works better in a adventure team. So when I think of wilds, I think Kristoff. Then you can say, well, Kristoff works better on a frozen team. Maybe. But Kristoff has this, he could, if you level the third thing up, he can keep this up forever. He's got harmful immunity. He does this. He gives crit to offensive characters. He gives defense to defensive characters. He gives support to if you put on a support character. He's got the summon. Obviously, he's got the basic where he calls Sven to attack. Now, do I think Eeyore's going to call an assist from Piglet? No. I'm just saying. I'm just giving an example of what I think is what his kit might be like. Next person I think of is I mentioned Rabbit was anxious, and that was obviously bad wording because we all know who the anxious person is in the Winnie the Pooh, and that would be Piglet. Now, when I think of Piglet, I got to tell you, I kind of think of the way Pain and Panic works, or the way Phil works. Not that their character models lined up, not that they're cut and paste. You think about them in the movies or in the series, they're not the same persona, but just the way their kit works. Is there going to be, obviously Phil buffs and gives out the Hercules. Pain and Panic enables Hades, obviously. And I think Piglet is going to be there to enable our boy Pooh. I don't necessarily think that Pooh is going to be Hercules or Hades, but he could. But I do think I see Piglet being just so worried about Pooh that he's going to be the enabler for Pooh. He's going to be like Megara or Pain and Panic are for Hades and Hercules, respectively. And that's just where I see them going. I don't know a lot about his kit. He could. I could see Piglet having some off-tank tendencies where because he's drawing attention to himself through whatever he does, that he's going to be worried about dying. So I don't know. But I think that you can see where my line of thinking there. At least I'm hoping that you might can. But I think Piglet will be some sort of enabler in the way that Megara or Phil or Pain and Panic is for Hades and Hercules. Tigger. Tigger. A lot of people love Tigger, and I get it. I get it. He's super rambunctious. He's all over the place. He's very high energy. And I can only really compare him to Judy Hopps because of the way her kick works. I don't know that. It's just because when you watch Judy in the game, she has this where she throws this donut and she gains haste, and the donut can chain, and I can see Tigger having a very similar type of vibe to him. This thing too, where he inflicts the slow, and it increases does turn meter and it does damage. So everybody, I could see that. Obviously I've not played a lot with Judy. This is just a damage. That's all it does. So there's that, or, and I'm not saying that I think this is a high probability, but I want to see how you feel about this. Could Tigger be more along the lines of this guy? This guy. Now, if you're new to the channel, I'm not a big fan of Hercules. I've never liked Hercules. I don't have a problem with the movie. I just think that the way he is implemented and as strong as he is a little too over the top. That's all. That's it. But Hercules, he's the one that's gonna. I feel like Tigger's gonna be the one that's gonna punch you back, or retaliate for having this counterattack. Now he might not have the impact on the game that Herc does, or Herc can just he's on every team because he's Hercules. And I'm not saying that the Tigger could be that, but I can kind of see it a little bit from just the way Tigger's portrayed. So I think an interesting combo might be a mixture of Judy Hopps and Hercules a little bit. I don't quite know how that would work out, but I think it's an interesting question if you think about it. Now, obviously, I don't know. I've talked about Rabbit. I've talked about Eeyore. I've talked about Piglet. I've talked about Tigger. I've talked about Pooh. No, I've not talked about Pooh, but we just talked about Tigger. So I think we talked about Eeyore. I'm sorry, I gotta do this math in my head. Eeyore, Rabbit, Piglet, Tigger. So we get two more, and we know one of them has to at least be Pooh. So I mean, we could go Owl. We could go Kangaroo. We could go Kangaroo. We could go Gopher. I like Kangaroo myself, but I think we're actually gonna go Owl. Owl could be the tank. He could be. Additionally, I think he could be a Merlin style debuffer, or sort of a wild version of kind of a conglomerate of Meta, Mim, and Merlin on the Wilds team. I don't know if that makes a whole lot of sense. Because Owl's obviously very studious. He's very high-minded. And, Merlin strikes me as high-minded. Meta, Mim, not so much. But, but I think somewhere in there. He could also be. I don't know what else Owl could do. I think he's got to be support. I think he's got to be cleanse, turn meter, whatever. I think that's where you got to go with Owl. Winnie the Pooh. Jeez. When the Sensational Six came out, would you have thought that Mickey was going to be an offensive support? That he was just going to be the guy that you put on your legendary team to, if they kill him first, um, he's gonna heal the entire team type thing. I don't know that Pooh's gonna be there. I think Pooh's probably the one hardest to hit. Gonna be the hardest to pin down. I could see him being the tank. Um, I hope that he's more beneficial. I hope that he's more impactful on the game than Ralph was. I mean, jeez, I cannot tell you how disappointed I was in Ralph. I still am in Ralph. But would I be surprised if Pooh is Ralph? Not really. Not really. Especially with the attention that they've given Herc and Zeus. But Winnie the Pooh, he's kind of hard to pin down. I mean, he's like the ADHD guy. He's like, oh, you know, oh bother, oh Piglet, oh Tigger. And so for me, his offensive defensive support status is kind of, I don't know whose kit they would model him after. If I just go through here, I mean, there's a lot of people that I think he could be. I just don't know. But I mean, like, we have Pluto, right? Pluto and Goofy are totally underwhelming on the Sensational Six team, and you can make an argument that Minnie is, but whatever. But in order for Wilds to return to come back to the forefront, I think that Winnie the Pooh has to be a star. Like, he has to be a legendary version of, because you could argue that the Wilds already have two legendaries, right? You can argue that. You can argue that obviously they have Elsa on their team, and then they have arguably a Wilds that's not actually a legendary, but he might as well be because of the way he operates, and that's Frank. Now, I think if Winnie the Pooh comes out, or if the team, maybe it's not specifically Winnie the Pooh. Maybe he needs Winnie. Maybe you need Winnie the Pooh and a couple of other people, but the team can be better. But honestly, how hard do you think it's going to be for Winnie the Pooh to come out and be better than Frank Wolf? Frank Wolf, we know about a lot. He's a legendary that's actually not a legendary. But he's obviously not free to play, because the way you can get him is through obviously buying the Valentine's Day pack was one way. Other than that, it's pretty much just leaderboards and pass holder and that type of stuff. Now, give him about another 3, 4, 5 months, then he will become much more free to play accessible. Probably June-ish. I'm thinking he's going to be free to play, much more free to play accessible. But as of now, he's not. But it's very, very hard to argue that Frank Wolf is not freaking S tier. And he's not on any of the Lego teams that you see with Herc and Bebe and Beast and Ursula and Mickey. He's not on any of those teams. But he's and honestly, and obviously, I think Frank is a little bit more impactful. I think that Frank is more impactful if you want to raid than he is on PvP. But I mean, Frank just does so much. Now, obviously, Frank gets a leg up because he has Proxima here with him. That's whatever you could say. Where would he be if he didn't have Proxima? He probably wouldn't be as good as he is, but the fact that he does have Proxima makes him a little bit better. The leadership, I'm not sure who has the leadership. I'm not sure if there is a leadership. And you could argue that this was one of the problems with the Wreck-It Ralph team, is that they did not have a leadership. And I will gladly consider that. I will gladly listen to that, because as crap, especially as not good as the Wreck-It Ralph team is, I don't think they can do that again. Because Wreck-It Ralph, I myself had such high hopes for when Wreck-It Ralph originally came out, and he's just not there. And Blue, if you're listening, I love Ralph. Make the team better. But in terms of Winnie the Pooh, they've got to put a leadership somewhere. I don't know if it's with Winnie the Pooh or if it's with somebody else. Obviously Frank's the leader, but he's an adventurer. You can make an argument that if Winnie the Pooh and that whole team comes out and is adventurers, that Frank's the leader for that team. That's fine. But I don't know that they will be. Now they have Hopper's leadership, and that's, whatever. Okay. It's a thing. I got it. Hopper's a thing with a guy with a deal. Everybody knows. Is there another leadership that I'm missing before I move on? We get the Lion King leadership. Okay. Yay! This is what can make Pacha really good in Club Conquest, by the way. Just saying. The leadership for the Wilds is right here. Talked about it before, I think. This could theoretically be, because this is what you use with Ralph, right? This is the leadership that you use with Ralph in lieu of not having a leadership. That also meant that because you had Calhoun on the team, that you had probably had Felix on the team, and then you had Ralph and Vanellope, and then you had Polka. Polka's leadership is more beneficial for Wild's characters as opposed to what it was with Ralph, but it's still what it is. It's not great, but it's not what Hopper's leadership was. Is it good enough to make a Winnie the Pooh team viable? I don't know. So, to sum up, I think Owl's going to be a support. I think he's going to be a Wilds version of Merlin or something. I think Tigger is going to be somewhere between Hercules and Judy Hopps. I don't know what that looks like. I think Eeyore's going to be a tank, similar to Simba or Kristoff. Somehow, maybe with a little Mordu mixed in. I don't know. Piglet's anxious. I think I could see him being off tank. Not sure how that works exactly. I think he's going to enable Winnie the Pooh to do whatever he does. Rabbit, offensive support, Shankish to hero, maybe somewhere in there. I don't know. Tigger, we talked about. Rabbit, Piglet. I think we talked about everybody. Winnie the Pooh, the big question mark. to me, he's got to be better than Frank. He's got to be better than Ralph. Whatever that looks like. If the Winnie the Pooh team is not as good as the Wreck-It Ralph team, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. If it's better than Wreck-It Ralph, it has potential. I mean, obviously, Beast and Belle are usable, but the rest of that team is kind of meh. The mythical team with Hercules. Hercules is good. The rest of the team enables Hercules. Pain and Panic with Hades, good. We don't have a complete team. It's always these Legos. And I want to see that stop in terms of PvP. Or maybe just 2. And then we can move on. But I definitely hope that Winnie the Pooh is raid viable. And I definitely hope that if you're saving gear like I suggested, that it's worth me telling you to save your gear. Because if not, I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it right now. Anyway, let me know what you think about Winnie the Pooh. Once again, I'll go over for just so we can get this clear. Owl is a support somewhere around Merlin, I'm guessing. Eeyore, Tank, Simba, or Kristoff-ish, that's Mordu. Piglet is an enabler for Winnie the Pooh. Off Tank, maybe. That's really probably as best as I can describe it. Maybe around Megara. Maybe something. Pain and Panic, I don't know. Tigger, Judy Hopps, Hercules-ish. Somewhere in there. Offense, obviously. Tons of offense. Rabbit, offensive support. Shank, Hero, Phil, something. Probably going to be the weakest link in the team, I think. Maybe. Probably. And then Pooh, offensive something. I don't know. Anyway, if you want to talk about it, leave me your thoughts. I would love to know if you've done a deep analysis of what you think the Winnie the Pooh team is. Please let me know. Let's talk about it. I would love to be able to rebut and, go through what you think. That'd be great. If you like what I'm doing, please consider leaving me a like and subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends. If you have the Brave browser, consider giving me a tip. If you don't know what that is, I highly encourage you to do some research and figure it, and consider using Brave, because I think it's a really good thing. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. I'll be back as soon as there's something else to talk about. Till then, have a good day. I'll see you later. Bye.